Located within the surroundings of Uganda's local community, Eric Wilkins gives you the comfort of a home away from home with its beautifully furnished two-bedroom and suite apartments. They are located 2.9 miles from the city center in Nyanama, Bunamoya. Come enjoy the spacious dining and living room, three balconies, a well-fitted kitchen with a gas cooker, micro oven, crockery, utensils, a fridge freezer, full-sized oven, stroke grill, the luxurious furniture, water-heated bathrooms, satellite cable smart TVs, free Wi-Fi, gazebo with outdoor comfy furniture and a family lounging shelter, ample parking space, 24 CCTV surveillance, and guaranteed security. Optional sofa bed in living room. Baby coats available upon request. Well-equipped laundry station and 24-hour power and water supply. Well-equipped laundry area.
So, okay.
Both razor and electric.
Only live now, Facebook or live YouTube. Abantu aliko genda kuba na bangi leero.
That's all we are looking for, and yeah, let's have our people.
785-61-5265 and 0702-61-5265 for all your bookings.
Okay. Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I greet you with the best of greetings. Peace be upon you. Welcome to the one and only program, Come, Let's Talk with me, Kassim, Kayira. And today, a very special program in which we shall be looking at the changing dynamics in politics. And we are looking at the MPs. It starts in the United States, where suddenly minorities are picking up and taking interest in politics. So far, 5 Muslims have already gone to the legislature. That's a first within American history. In the United Kingdom, you will be surprised. From the 2019 elections, the turn-up of Muslims not only increased, but the number of Muslims that were voted in had also increased quite significantly. We'll be looking at these changing dynamics where the youth especially and the minorities are now beginning to take serious and keen interest in politics. What does this actually mean? But back home in Uganda, we've just come out of an election on the 14th of January, an election that was like none before it. Out of it, Uganda's parliament is going to actually end up being oversized. More than 500 MPs, and out of these, for the very first time in our history, 50 Muslim MPs. It's not about Islam necessarily, if you're a non-Muslim watching, because without any doubt, these 15 MPs were not wholly or only voted for by Muslims, but it's because of their particular qualities, their qualifications, their promise, their ability, the kind of expectations that people have in them, and what got them onto the ballot box and onto the winning box in that matter. So we shall be trying to look at now, with these changing dynamics, with so many youths coming into parliament, with people from the minorities, minority groups like Muslims, for example, coming into parliament, what can they really do? What can they change? What are your expectations? I think this is what this program is about. It's not about me talking down at you. It's about us having a conversation. And therefore, just come. Let's talk with me, Kassim, Kayira, here on Dabi Radio, 75 Dabi Radio, and live on Ummah Connect, both on Zoom and on YouTube. And we are actually streaming live right now. Remember, you can send in your particular, text messages. Some people are shy to appear on screen, and therefore won't mind about that. We'll take your comments and we'll have our discussion. Let's open our discussion now. We'll be talking about the changing dynamics in politics, and we are looking at the rise of minorities in parliamentary democracy. Many countries now, the dynamics are changing. Many youth, in a country like Uganda, where you have, for example, more than 70% of the population being people aged under 35. That's quite something. If they are to be empowered and therefore have a chance to get into parliament, what can they do? Is there a need, for example, for institutional memory? And with that, we mean experience, their ability to be able to borrow a leaf from the older generation, but push much harder with their youthful energies to to see change happening. How much change can actually happen in a situation, for example, when you are totally new? For the winners, the MPs that we're going to be having in our show tonight, we have 5 of the MP elects. We'll be having Honorable Aisha Kabanda, who will be joining us very shortly. We have Honorable Asmani Wasariwa. I think he's one of the lucky ones, went in almost unopposed in his constituency, where he'd just been elected once the municipality was created. And he's been since shining, and it didn't matter whether he was coming from one of the smallest parties in the country, just in terms of numbers of representation, he still managed to swim and sail through. The big win, I think, has been mainly for the National Unity Platform, NUP, where actually they have swept much of the areas, especially within Buganda and Central Region, where they've taken up positions. And we have Mwadanku Nyingi. He had participated in the previous election, led to the cancelling of an election in Chadondo East, because he petitioned following that particular election in 2016. And it was following up from his particular petition that we ended up having Honorable Robert Chagulanyi. That's probably something you might not have known. Honorable Robert Chagulanyi came out of the blue in the Chadondo East constituency by-election because he had not been seen as a candidate in the first place. In that particular election, Mwadanku Nyingi, as a lawyer, had gone to court and petitioned the election of Kantinti. And Kantinti lost out. Mwadanku Nyingi himself didn't make it, but Honorable Robert Chagulanyi made it in 2016. And actually 2017, he ends up becoming the MP for Chadondo East. The rest is history. But this time around, Mwadanku Nyingi went back on a NUP ticket and suddenly managed to thrash his rivals. And now he's the MP elect. Who would probably miss Mr. Update, Muhammad Segirinya, in his very hotly contested, constituency in Kawempe North, where he ended up actually, garnering lots of votes. When he was speaking about these particular votes, I remember in a joke, he said even if he had taken 30,000 votes and spread them towards, or gave them, or distributed them towards his opponents, he would still remain with the majority. Well, it's a new parliament, it's a new history. Aisha Kabanda has been a politician. She's been on the political scene for quite some time. She was even an RCC in Kampala, that's the resident commissioner in Kampala, before she broke ranks with the government, and then she became a very serious critic, saying what she saw the way she saw it. So we shall be having that particular discussion just to hear about these particular wins and what they mean for these particular people, and what actually it takes the community. If you look at the Muslim community, for example, it's the first time that actually there's even more than 20, leave alone the 50, more than 20 MPs in parliament. But it's been a progressive journey from the very first time when we had Honorable Balinda as the first Muslim to become a member of parliament. If history tells me right, this is the first time that we're actually ending up in this particular situation. Remember that number, it's +44 77 2057 0307. You can text us or just call into the studio and have your say. Or you can actually just go to Facebook, where many are already sending in, beginning to share their messages, or just raise up your hand on Zoom and we will get talking. Thank you very much. I just want to see if our guests are already here, and actually to try and analyze the situation as we see it. We've got Imam Kasozi, a very well-known social critic and a person who has been there in the politics of the countries, sort of help us. Imam Kasozi, I think I'll take you in while we get our MPs elect, just to get us started, just to get a general feel now about parliamentary democracies and what expectations that we can have from MPs. Imam Kasozi, thank you very much. And thank you everyone who is already logged in and ready to kickstart this particular program. Thank you very much for sparing the time, Imam Kasozi. I know it's late in Uganda, it's 11 p.m. Most people, or many people, will be going to bed, but probably not on a program like this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Imam Kasozi. Hello, Imam, can you hear me? Hello, Imam, you're unmuted. I just wanted to get a feel from the Imam just to make sure that he's there, and then we will continue. But that's a conversation that we have now already opened up while we wait for Imam to... Imam Kasozi, are you there? And please let me know when our guests, the honorables, manage to log in. I'd like to know once they've joined. Imam Kasuzi, are you there? It's not the Mawanga network that is already causing problems. Hello, Imam Kasuzi? Well, one of our guests is already with us.
Hello.
Actually, why don't we start gauging the temperature? Imam Kasuzi, I'll come to you shortly.
Hello,
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Hold your seat because I've just seen one of our MPs, one of our MP elects. I'll just go to him just to measure his temperature to make sure he's COVID safe, and then we can kickstart this. Honorable Asmani Wasali wa Bujiri Municipality, thank you very much for joining the program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to 75 Derby Radio and Ummah Connect on YouTube and Zoom. And you are on the program. Come, let's talk with me, Kassim Kayira. Congratulations, first of all, on your win.
Thank you very much, my brother Kassim. We thank the Almighty Allah for his blessings and favors upon us. And we also thank him for according us victory in the recently concluded elections. I want to congratulate my Muslim brothers and sisters who are joining Parliament and to thank those who have retained their seats. We pray to the Almighty Allah to help us discharge our responsibilities with commitment and distinction. And over and above representing our constituencies and the country, we should strive as much as possible to be role models to the Muslim community, to espouse the values of Islam, the teachings and practices of Islam, so that we become very good role models for the politicians present and those to come after us, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. I just wanted to measure your temperature now, just in terms of the election itself. How was it for you? Was it a hard-fought competition, or was it just a walk in the sea?
Kassim, there is no simple election unless you have been declared unopposed. But once you have opponents, definitely going through is always a tug of war, especially when you belong to the opposition in this country, where opposition is virtually criminalized. And, a person like me coming from the Far East in Bujiri,
Yes.
And Bujiri is actually an NRM dominated, political area. I am the only member of parliament from the opposition in that area. That area is where the Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement comes from. So grabbing a seat from a district where the Secretary General of the ruling party comes from is definitely not a very simple task. I want to thank my colleagues, Imam Kasuzi and the team in Jema that provided technical, moral, and financial support. So by and large, nobody goes through an election in an easy way. It is always a struggle, and we can always thank Allah when we make it through.
Yes, well, you are one of those that are coming back, and therefore it will be quite interesting. I can see a hand up. Is that Badru? I can see Badru's hand up. I don't know if you have something that is burning. Badru, you raised your hand the traditional way. Are you raising your hand, or were you just waving? Badru? Badru is there in the red. I just want to hear from him before I continue. Maybe he has something that is burning. Badru, you are unmuted. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I've unmuted myself.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this program, and I really congratulate our Muslim brothers for winning these very responsible positions in the government.
Badru, did you have something that was burning? Because I wanted to be sure that we just roll according to the sequence, and then I'll come to you. It's not that I have any doubt about that. I just wanted to have the floor, but I saw your hand up, and I wanted.
No, actually, it was. It went up by mistake.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just keep you there. Hold it for a bit. We'll
Okay.
just come to you, inshallah, because this is your global community conversation. It's not about me talking, it's about us having a conversation.
Yes.
Honorable
Thank you.
Asari, well, thank you very much for those introductory remarks. I think they can get us talking. I'll just bring in two important people that are helping us navigate through this particular subject at this particular moment in time. And that is Imam Kasozi and Haj Karim Kalisa, who I see have already joined while we wait for our other MP-elects to join us. Imam Kasozi, I just wanted to get your just opening remarks regarding minorities and especially Muslims now coming to parliament at this particular moment in time. What does it actually mean if you look at the journey that it's been from one with the Honorable Balinda ending up right now with the number that is 50 that it is at the moment?
Thank you very much, dear members who have logged in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, Kassim, for this opportunity, and I welcome all the members into this discussion, a discussion which I think is very critical for the community members, especially in view of the challenges that we face as a community. Of course, when you go through the list of the members, I think some 51 people are outright, then there are the others whose names may later confirm that they are Muslims, so we may go up to around 54 people, according to the list so far published that I have seen. Of course, hoping that many others will not be challenged, because sometimes there are challenges and there is recounting, there is whatever, but
yes.
Books, I hope we are comfortable with that, because I have seen people before knocked out of parliament because of books and many other issues. But all said and done, it is encouraging in view of the numbers that were also in the previous parliament. But the biggest issue that me and you must be concerned with is that apart from fulfilling their obligations of legislating because that's their primary role, I would wish maybe to see this time the issues pertaining the Muslim community being brought to or laid on the table of parliament as issues of national importance.
Yes.
Because there are issues really that demand that one. The other thing is that I hope our brothers and sisters, when they get on board, they will not also just be completely entrenched in the roles of the political organization that have brought them up, but they will also have some time. And then we have two positions: the formation of the Muslim caucus, which I think is an allowed thing. The chairman, who will be the chairman of that caucus, then an office that is not formal but has a lot of significance, the Imam of the Parliament, okay, and his role, because in many times he is consulted, especially if there are issues pertaining to the community. Then there is a tradition that emerged, I think, for so many years now, where every Ramadan there is a program for Ramadan.
Yes.
Yes, iftar dinner.
Yes.
People are invited. They come in. Others are invited to give talks, and then who also becomes the next speaker, and how supportive he or she will be to this community, also depending on how they participate in his or her election. Therefore, I congratulate all of them.
Yes.
At least maybe out of the 50 members or so, at least between 30 to 40. We have maybe dealt with each other.
Yes.
And also, you see, our roles for us, we are not members of parliament, but we do community work. And some of this community work, some members of parliament get interested. And I'm very certain if all of them were here, some would tell you that our community work may have also contributed to their rising to position. So,
Imam,
the last thing
hold that thought for now.
Yes.
Because I just wanted you to tell us. I think it sort of introduced us into a very interesting territory. It's about Muslims making sure the MPs that have been elected. And I think that's why it is quite important. Please, if you are out there, if you can help me get our MPs on, the MP elects. I don't know if they are finding any problems connecting in. We've only got one, Honorable Sumani Basari. I just want to make sure that we have them while and when we start the conversation deeply so that they can hear a lot of these messages. Because Imam Kassos, I think, introduces us into an interesting territory, making sure that, for example, they get committees will be very important. Which committees do you go for? Because all MPs, once they've been sworn in, they're given a chance, an opportunity to sort of decide or apply to what committee they end up on. Some members in the last parliament, the 10th parliament, ended up being on three committees. Normally they're supposed to be on 2 committees, but they ended up even going to 3 committees because they are quite a number. There's even the issue of the size of the parliament, which I think actually I was hoping that Kassim Musibe would be on here for us to just discuss this just a little bit, because the parliament, as you know, as it is, its capacity at the moment cannot hold all the 500 MPs plus, because even at 462, if a full session had to be in, it had to be taken to the conference center to be able to sit. Imam talks about, getting into the committees, and then getting the Imam, and then making sure Muslim issues now get onto the forefront. But as we established at the beginning of this particular conversation, it's not only Muslims who voted for these MPs, and therefore they are for the community, and therefore it should be projects that actually affect the community, but with specifics. I think when it comes to Islam or Muslim affairs, then there should be just every effort put into that. At the introduction, I just said to you that there has been a particular wave that is pushing minorities and Muslims in particular to participate in parliamentary democracy. I would like us to watch a simple video, one from the United States, and then probably you might be surprised you didn't know this existed in the United Kingdom. You will see where Muslims are and what they represent. Maybe it will just tickle you a little bit and get you ready. I'll come to Haj Karisa off the back of the videos and we'll have that conversation. Please watch this video. It's about America, the first time Muslims who have been voted into the legislature, and then we'll come to the United Kingdom before we go to our members of parliament in Uganda. In the meantime, Sheikh Zaid, please help me try to get in touch with the members of parliament. Let's see what exactly is happening. They should be on here by now. All right, that is the situation in the United States of America.
Just listen.
That's the situation in the United States of America. Now, if we can just have a look at what is happening in the United Kingdom, and that happened in 2019 in the last election. And actually, Muslims not only turned out in record numbers, we ended up with a huge number of Muslims that you might not believe in a country where that representation has not been. Take a look. It's taking its time. That's technology when it decides to play with that, but we are coming. Apologies for that. Messages already coming in the chat room. I'm saying, let them think about the diasporans working in Arab countries because we suffer a lot. That's already a message in the chat room. Quite interesting conversation going on there. And on Facebook, when you're ready, Isma, you just let me know on Facebook. Send Agara Bashir saying, good show, Kassim. Thank you very much. You can keep it coming. 574. Okay, that's the situation in the United.
Imran Ahmed Khan, MP for Wakefield. Khan made history when he was elected as MP for Wakefield in Yorkshire. He beat the incumbent MP by 3,358 votes. Sakib Bhatti, MP for Meriden. Sakib Bhatti won Meriden with 34,358 votes.
Oh, the internet is playing up.
Born in 1985 in Walsall, West Midlands. He read law at the London School of Economics and later went on to become the youngest president of Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce. He is also a chartered accountant. Rehman Chishti, MP for Gillingham and Rainham, with 28,173 votes, 61.3% vote share. Nusrat Ghani, MP for Weldon, with 37,043 votes, 60.8% vote share. Sajid Javid, MP for Bromsgrove, with 34,408 votes, 63.4% vote share. Afsana Begum, MP for Poplar and Limehouse. Afsana on Poplar and Limehouse with 38,660 votes, 68% of vote, and has gone on to become the first hijab-wearing member of Parliament. Zara Sultana, MP for Coventry South. Zara won Coventry South with 19,544 votes and a 1% winning margin over the Conservative Party's Matty Hibben. Tahir Ali, MP for Birmingham Hall Green. Ali won Birmingham Hall Green with 67.8% of the vote share, a landslide victory that unseated Labour MP Roger Godsiff in the Swing constituency. Rusanar Ali, MP for Bethnal Current and Bow, with 44,052 votes, 72% of vote share. Yasmin Qureshi, MP for Bolton South East, with 21,516 votes, 53% of vote share. Shabana Mahmood, MP for Birmingham Lady Fall, with 33,355 votes, 79.2% of vote share. Naz Shah, MP for Bradford West, with 33,736 votes, 76.2% of vote share. Imran Hussain, MP for Bradford East, with 27,825 votes, 63% of vote share. Khalid Mahmood, MP for Birmingham Perrybar, with 26,594 votes, 63.1% of vote share. Muhammad Yassin, MP for Bedford, with a majority of 145 votes, 43.3% of vote share. Tulip Siddiq, MP for Hampstead and Kilburn, with 28,080 votes, 48.9% of vote share. Rupa Haq, MP for Ealing Central and Acton, with 28,132 votes, 51.3% of vote share. Rosina Alin Khan, MP for Tooting, with 30,811 votes, 52.7% of vote share. Afzal Khan, MP for Manchester Girton, with 34,583 votes, 77.6% of vote share.
Well, You can see that 19 MPs. How many of you members attending today's conversation actually knew that there were 19 Muslim members within the UK Parliament? It takes courage, it takes determination, but you will notice that with all of that, it's mainly Asians. It's basically about Asian Muslims who have taken the courage, went out and voted. It means that even within Black communities, we would like to get some Ugandans with courage, with motivation. Some of us are cowards. Not all of you are cowards. Messages already coming in on that. I think it's already exciting some of you. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, very interesting. And that is from Farida Ntege. May Allah grant courage and determination to serve their people in a way that will make them prosper fi dunya wal akhirah. And that is a message to the Ugandan MPs. We in the diaspora have worked well with Imam Kasozi to deliver some good projects. That is Mohsin Chimbugwe on the program. How is he going to mentor these MPs to work with us and us with them beyond party lines? I think Imam Kasozi, the role of the diaspora, especially in this particular election, this year's election, is undoubted, and we will come to that kind of conversation and hear actually what the role of the diaspora. I think there has to be a redefinition of the role of the diaspora. I'm waiting to hear if we've got any of our other MPs elect that were supposed to be joining us. Aisha Kavanda should be joining us. Haj Karim Kalisa, coming to you simply because off the back of you, then we'll hope that you'll help to check on Aisha Kavanda and what's going on. Welcome to the program, W Radio, and thanks for making the time. Your own take, this particular election, and then the 50 members, Muslim members of parliament. It's quite a change. It's never happened before. Haji Karim Kalisa, we can hear. Yeah, you're unmuted.
Yes, my brother Kassim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's nice being here this evening, and I thank our brother Bastard for making it. And in fact, he traveled all the way from Bujiri to make sure that he's in Kampala by this time. He had a lot to do the other side, but he assured me that he would be in Kampala for better internet and make sure that really he talks to everyone. Thank you, Asman, for that great work. And I thank Sheikh Kassim Kayira for this great job you are doing. And I have liked the production work really presented to us that has raised a bar above sea level. So really, thank you so much. And for Basari and the group, they have to see that maybe if it is done the other side, we should also doing it here. 50 members, as said by all the members, including Imam Kasozi, we congratulate everyone. And we thank those that accepted to be with us. I'm still wondering where Aisha is, Muada, good, Basarira is with us. Thank you very much. For Basarira, there is one comment I would like to make. Not only that he's with us tonight, but I would put it basing to my own research and what I have been observing, that Basarira might be the backbone of what is happening. I remember Honorable Chaguranyi did it. It was a trial at Chadondo East when he campaigned to be a member of parliament. But remember when he joined hands with Asman Basarira in Wujiri, gained more confidence. I think that's when he started widening his vision. That's why I thank Asman for really making it, and the change and the move we are seeing. Let's thank our brother for not what we are seeing, but he has been consistent. We see him at Makerere University, a great work. He did a great work, and that's why I have always told them that those that are still closer to Makerere University, some of us are aged, we left that university a long time ago, they should always be back. Because when you are there at Makerere University, that's where you get a wider vision. You see the Imam Kasos is doing their wonders. Check them around 80s, 84, 85, 86, the group that was at Makerere University, and what they did really is making them be what they are today. So Asman Basarira, We followed him at Makerere University, did a great job, and we are still seeing him. And I always call him a man of many jackets, the president of JEMA, what he's doing in the Eastern region, what he's doing for the youth as a legal man. So thank you, Basarira, for doing the great work. So our expectation in this parliament, I have always gone through the list every day. I check through up to 50, 51. It is recently that Imam Kasozi guided us that the 51 person we are doubting, and he confirmed. So let's retain our 50.
Yes.
He will tell you. He has his notes. He's a man of notes. When Imam decides to make a research, he does it up to the last point.
Yes.
So when I see into our list briefly, you look at those, of course, we have our president, Asman. You see to these Yusuf Nsibambis, you look at the Semujus, the Chivumbis, really we feel so comfortable. These are professional people. Most of them are lawyers. And when you look at Aisha, she has been in the system, very eloquent. You hear him presenting a program on the radio, really you know that this is a lady that has content for our community.
Just as you're mentioning on the numbers, here is a message from Sharifa Kwezi, which says, having 15 main women in leadership all over the world. I hope Uganda can make a difference this time. We expect a lot in the new cabinet, and hope as Ugandan women that we'll be able to get something. I think there was someone who mentioned that there was an MP, lady, Sauda from Bujiri, is it Iganga? They were mentioning that
yes,
there's an MP from Iganga that is it Sauda? I think if I'm correct. Yes, please.
She's Sauda.
She's Sauda.
Sauda Alibao, woman MP Iganga.
Woman MP Iganga, yes. Barakallahu fikum.
Sauda,
yes.
Sauda Alibao, she's a lawyer. She studied from IUIU.
Aha. Oh, that's now we are. It is our time to eat, as they say. Karim, guys, hold that thought a little bit. I've just seen a journalist, a big journalist, actually a budding journalist in Uganda who is coming up, and he's been hosting big programs. I think Imam Kasozi might have ended up on the radio show that he presents. Adam Mahdi Kungu. You've covered the election quite extensively. I was following up how you went into the depth of all of this, and to be part of this conversation, I think it is really, really interesting. It will be interesting for our listeners and viewers. I just saw Adam Kungu. You had already unmuted him. Adam Kungu, can you hear me? Have you unmuted yourself? I just wanted to bring you very briefly at the start of this so that we can open up the conversation, because like I said, this is Come Let's Talk. We just have a conversation. It's not about one person actually monopolizing the chat. We keep the conversation running. Mahdi Ali Kungu, I think I saw him and he's still there. I saw him. I just wanted to bring him very briefly before. Adam Kungu, can you unmute yourself, please? Because we had already tried to get you to unmute yourself. Okay, if we don't have him, I'll just come back very briefly to Haji Karisa, very briefly, just because I need to open up the conversation now. You've really you've spoken about the big deal that has come out of this particular election, where people seem to have been sensitized. They've gone out. They've made the best out of it. What in your view is the biggest challenge that they are about to face, the Muslim MPs especially? Because I just want to
as of now, I may not.
You can't think of something that might be the big challenge.
Let's
put the question to Honorable Basario, because he's been there. He knows what it actually takes. Honorable Basario, let's hear your own take. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for these MPs as they join Parliament now?
I think that, as far as I'm concerned, it's really about making impact in Parliament. It's one thing to have the numbers, but it's actually another thing to have impact in Parliament.
By impact, you mean?
By impact, I mean the quality of legislation and the quality of representation. especially when it comes to the roles of a member of parliament as enunciated in our constitution, Articles 98, 99. Because you see, there is legislation. How are we going to influence legislation? What is going to be our impact on legislation in parliament? Policy formulation and oversight, making government to account on different aspects of democracy, of governance, and other related aspects. At the end of it all, for you, Kassim, to be proud of Basadura must be having impact in parliament on the floor. You are aware that every year we are rated as members of parliament. So it would really be unfortunate if at the end of the year, our ratings are low. You know, they always give us, performance cards. Their organizations are created by parliament to do some review on our performance on the floor and in the committees. And at the end of it all, we are rated. So for me, the biggest challenge we have is whether we will live up to the expectations of the people, will live up to the expectations of the community. If at the end of it all, we are not able to score highly, then it will be a very big disappointment to the Muslim community, but also to the country and our constituencies that sent us. Now, getting back to us as Muslim MPs, the other challenge we are likely to face is if we fail to be united on matters that concern the community. You know, some people are coming to parliament as members of different political parties. I am aware that sometimes parties have positions. The Muslim community will have a position, and the individuals too will have positions. Now, if the Muslim community has a position, and either as individual MPs or as our parties have different positions that are not similar to those of the Muslim community, then that will be a very unfortunate, scenario. So I think it's important that we continue working together, we fraternize, we consult the community leadership, and at the end of it all, we should be the voices of the community in parliament. There are many issues that are unresolved. The issue of Islamic banking is yet to take shape. The issue of Qadi courts. I just saw a comment from, I think, a sister talking about, hijab in the passport office.
Yes, yeah.
Hijabs in taking of passport photos and related national programs. All those issues require our unity. They require our voice. Now, should we not have a collective voice, should we not be united, then we shall have let down the community. So those are aspects I am looking at for purposes of creating impact, but also that will present very big challenges.
Honorable, then for the benefit of those viewing us and listening to us at this particular moment in time, you talk about the need for unity when it comes to matters that are of public interest. Have you had a situation, for example, in the past, in the last parliament, in the 10th parliament, where you've come together as Muslims to take a particular stance, or has the politics outside the parliament actually followed you into parliament?
Now, I'll give an example for Muslims in safe houses.
Yes.
That matter came before the Human Rights Committee. The MP, the current MP for Kawempe North, the Honorable Latif Sevagala,
yes,
was very vocal. Unfortunately, he seemed to be a lone voice. We didn't do much to back him up in terms of, campaigning to have our Muslim friends, brothers and sisters incarcerated in safe houses to be free. It was really very unfortunate. We also have instances where some of our Muslim colleagues have been arrested immediately after being freed from courts.
yes,
Our voices, we are not as loud. I remember raising the matter on the floor and during Prime Minister's time about Muslims being arrested. You remember even when we were in Munyonyo during the IPOD meeting, I challenged the President Museveni to explain why Muslims are arrested and investigations take place later. Now, we seem to have lone voices when sometimes it comes to issues related to Muslims. So
now,
that's
because I want to open up the conversation, and I'm sure the people that are on this forum now would like to be asking you questions. And please, if you have any question, you can either put it in the chat room or you'll just raise up your hand and we'll have an opportunity while we are also getting other MPs to come into the conversation. Remember, this is Come Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira, on 75W Radio and on Umma Connected on Zoom and YouTube. And we are enjoying all your conversations, all the comments that are coming in. Honorable Basaru, I'm still with you. A very good comment that came here that I think you might be able to pick up on. They are already giving you, your to-do list is already getting filled up. I think it says here, most of them are still don't know. There was NSSF wants to start charging people in the diaspora. You've touched on the issue of many Muslims who are in detention without actually appearing in trial. What do you think you could do? Do you think 50 is enough to make enough noise to probably get Parliament taking it as an issue and government listening?
Well, I think at the end of it all, what matters may not necessarily be the numbers. But how we connect with the others, how we are able to influence with the others. Because you see, Parliament is about lobbying and caucusing. If the 50 of us each can pull 10 colleagues on a matter, then we can really have influence. So even as we relate with colleagues from other denominations, it's important that we understand that lobbying, caucusing, and creating friends is very critical. I am aware that, for example, if there is a very critical bill before Parliament, it could be a private member's bill, it could be a bill by government. The chief whips are engaged in a lot of private discussions with the various MPs. So what will matter at the end of it all is how we relate with the others, how we engage with the others. So the numbers may be small, but if we have very good public relations, if we engage well with our colleagues, then we'll be able to have so many things get through. For example, I sit on the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. I remember in one of our sessions as a committee, we are discussing, the family, what they call the marriage and divorce bill.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting one, I think. Yes.
Yes, and one of the clauses seemed to attack, our form of marriage, polygamy. But on the committee, we are 3 Muslims actually: myself, the Honorable Katuntu, and the Honorable Ibrahim Semuju Nganda. And we were able really to convince our colleagues to drop provisions in that bill that contravene the teachings and practices of Islam. And indeed, they were dropped. So sometimes it's not really the numbers, but how you relate and engage with the others. And I think that's the call I am going to make to especially our colleagues who are joining Parliament, the new members of Parliament, that we should have very good interpersonal skills. We should engage, we should discuss, and at the end of it all, we should be able to have consensus on so many issues, even if we are still a minority in that house.
Right. I think I see a hand up. Sharifa, can you speak to the MP? We are having already the conversation now. Sharifa K, is it a question or a comment to the Honorable MP elect?
They are actually 2 questions I'm asking. My name is Sharifa Kwezi, and I'm speaking from Geneva, Switzerland. I am a Ugandan by birth. Mwami Asuman Baswalirwa and 75W Radio mwebale kutukulembera and giving us a platform to speak about our issues. I have 2 questions. Number 1, Mwami Baswalirwa, we've seen you people in office. You guys have made promises as you come onto these seats, but we still have issues that have not been tackled all the way through, especially when it comes to the female species in Uganda. We have a Ugandan constitution from 1995, and it is an Article 33. I quote, women were supposed to be given full equality and dignification as persons, the same as men, and it has still not been facilitated over the years. We are tired of promises. We want you to see our constitution act out. My second question is, it is in the constitution, and you guys have not done anything from it since 1995. But you sit and reform certain laws in the constitution atefa abakyala mutuleka emabega. Number two, my second question is, we have a problem where most, if not the majority of our sisters are being shipped to our neighboring countries outside and left to struggle and left in pain in Adala, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. These sisters share their pains on social media, and there is nothing the government of Uganda is doing to represent. Other countries really stand out and help their citizens take them out, make these people do something really. But Ugandans are still being treated like, I quote, slaves in these countries when they are going out to look for a better future. And this money is actually sent back to Uganda, and people pay taxes and their families benefit, but these women are not helped when they have a call for help. Kati mwami Asumani basalirwa nga cabinet eddako we tuba tulina abasiraamu bano. Really, is your presence going to be seen for the first time in 2021 as we move forward?
Sharifa K, thank you very much. Brilliant issues raised there. I'll actually put the second question very simply to Honorable Basago, because he's been in Parliament. This issue did come up and something was done about it. Honorable Basago, what did you do in the last Parliament as we look at on the next Parliament now to be able to probably pick up the matter and take it forward? What did you do about the issue of the suffering of Ugandans, especially in the Middle East?
Well, there were three issues. One, because you see, as Parliament, what do we do in such situations? When that matter came up, when there was outcry, we raised the matter in Parliament. We put government to task to explain the measures they had put in place to ensure that our brothers and sisters in the diaspora are helped. And, you know, government did explain, they had put up certain measures. One, to curb the illegal export of labor. Number two, they had directed our embassies across the globe, but especially in the United Arab Emirates and those other countries where most of our citizens find refuge for one reason or the other. The ministry, the embassies were directed to offer support. But as you know, as a country, we don't support our embassies very well. I have visited some of our embassies abroad, but the kind of situation in which they are is really dire. The financial situation, actually most of them are incapacitated financially. They are not in a position to do much. We don't give them enough resources to provide support to our citizenry out there. But as far as Parliament is concerned, the matter was raised. We put government to task and certain actions were taken, including repatriating those that were stuck. I am aware that some repatriations were done. I'm also aware that some companies that were engaged in illegal export were actually sanctioned. But maybe we need to do more than that in terms of raising our voices. Now, the other aspect related to the issue of equality, unfortunately, the sister from Geneva did not give specifics. What specifics, she talks about.
Honorable, she's here. Maybe she can just specify so that we have it clear. Sharifa, you're there. Could you please specify to the Honorable MP? I think you're already taking them to account.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I would be very glad to. I would be very, very glad to specify. We're looking at the issue of marriage.
Right.
Honorable Masalira, we are looking at the issue of marriage, underage marriage. We are looking at the issue whereby our sisters and as women are being asked for certain favors in regards to the employment facility. We are looking at the way they are being manhandled by police on the presence of live TV, where they are handled like men, thrown over, their kids are traumatized. We've seen the KCCA manhandlers torture these women that are working on the streets and not handled as normal female human beings, fragile human beings. Ng'obusiraamu bwe bugamba. Kati mwe abatudde mu ntebe, we mubiraba, mutukolerawo ki? Because you people are back again, so I hope you get the picture now.
Yeah, Honorable, now it's back to you, sir.
Thank you very much. But you know, she's raising a serious human rights issue. And what I have been an advocate of human rights for a long time. I am a human rights lawyer, and I've been defending and defending some of these people before the courts of law. The issue has nothing to do with the absence of either laws or institutions. The issue has a lot to do with the impunity in our country. And what you raise is a human rights issue. Generally, the level of respect and observance for human rights in our country is very low. There is a lot of impunity, and some of us are on record for advocating for greater respect for human rights and fighting impunity, but at a heavy cost. I have been imprisoned before. I've been to Luzira before for simply being a human rights advocate. So some of us will continue to campaign for greater respect for human rights. The kind of brutality you are talking about, and you know, illegal arrests and torture is not limited to women. It's not limited to women. It's across board. Just yesterday, people were shot in Entebbe by SFC. In my own by-election in a campaign, my bodyguard Asmani Waliyend was shot dead. So there are serious human rights issues in this country that have to be addressed. And all of us should really get concerned. Our colleagues in the diaspora, you need to get concerned, just like we are concerned down here. Some of these cases, we've been able to take them to court. Court has given awards. The Human Rights Commission has also given awards, but it's really work in progress. But what you are raising is beyond issues of equality, is beyond the fact that the Constitution has certain commands. It's about impunity. It's about lack of respect for human rights and freedoms in our country.
Brother Kayira, if I can make some comment on that very question.
Yes, please.
Sharif asked.
The conversation is open, please. Feel free. Just raise your hand and then we'll choose you. Imam Kasozi, go ahead, please.
Yes. What I have seen, especially when they talk about our people, our sisters and others, even men that are taken to some of these Middle East countries, the reason I think is it goes back to what Basari were called impunity. Who are the owners of these organizations that take these people for labor in the Middle East? If you looked at them, why, even when there is seemingly some critical checking up, people still go and they go via the airport? It is because of corruption. It is because of nepotism, because you'll find most of all those groups that take people to the Middle East are security people, okay? And therefore, locally, nothing can happen to them, or they are connected to some bigger circles which frustrate the efforts of the people. Therefore, to me, coming back to the people, the very people we are talking about, these are Muslim MPs. I think we must first of all employ them to appreciate the teachings of Islam, and then use the teachings of Islam to play that role of human rights activists or human rights defenders. This afternoon, I had the opportunity to host people from a new organization called the Justice Access. Yes, it's called the JAP, and they're trying to look at how, in view of what was happening, in view of what happened in elections, in view of the blockages that are being done, how best can we make influence? Two, they were also looking at the bigger picture in view of the new members of parliament, the new parliament, as you have seen, what do we do? So the Muslim members of parliament, irrespective of their numbers, we have some who are seasoned. Basariwa is new, but I think his performance in the 2.5 years he has been in parliament made him one of those seasoned. Ibrahim Semjunganda, Mwanga Chivumbi, Muhammad Nsereko, and some others. But when you look at all those largely, they are on the opposition. Now the onus is on us also to put task members, the Muslim members of parliament on the government side, okay, in their caucus, in their political organization, what influence can they put? Then they have been joined again by seasoned lawyers. Yusuf Nsibandi, Haruna Mwadankunyinji, Abdullah Chiwanuka. These are seasoned lawyers, and they have been there for causes, for very many causes all the other time. Now, if they team up, probably we can be there. Basara talks of lobbying. Lobbying who? You see, so then even my sister Sharifa, you see, we are talking about women issues. If women make almost 1/3 of the members of parliament. For example, we have 146 women MPs. Then we have women MPs who are directly elected. Quite a number of them this time also. Quite a number of them this time. So you could find that in the new parliament, in the 11th parliament, we are going to have about either 180 or 170 women members of parliament. Wow. You see, will they have the impact?
I just wanted to free up a little bit because it looks like the conversation hard. I just want to free up a little bit and get a bit of a breath of fresh air on the team. And just to remind you that let language not be a barrier. Because this is a global community conversation that we are having. Don't get limited. Imam Kasozi, brilliant and raised. Rashid Kayira here says, my request to our brothers and sisters is to be honest and allow themselves a chance to learn from trusted people with experience and advocate for an anti-corruption free environment. Hajati Mukenya yaga anti waffe bakyogerako naye tekikola katulinde kijja kukolera mu government ya president Kyagulanyi. 50 Muslim MPs says Hasfake, alhamdulillah. Is it new wine in old bottles? The system of government hasn't changed. They might be spreaded by the incumbent or forever in existence government. And then Mwesije Joram Libertarian says the political question in Uganda is big. Politicians don't know much about it. They cannot do away with it. 514 parliament is part of the problem. Actually, that is really the thing. That's probably where we should start from, having that particular conversation. Is it too big a parliament even to have? Why do we need that parliament? Abafetwetaga parliament enene wetu. Abbas Njuchi Sebo akazina rokaini. Sheikh Abbas Njuchi.
Naam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to
Mpirize wendi sobola kwogera nnyo nga Njuchi bwe yali badde eyogera nga mutumanyi Njuchi bwe yogera. Naye nsooka okwebaza bakadde bange mwenna abali mu studio ba moderators oluvannyuma ne neebaza mwenna abataddeko abakosti baffe bonna bakohosti baffe bonna, especially honorable Basalirwa Ssebo nkulamusizza nze Njuchi Abbas wano eyakubuuza ekibuuzo lewajja wano ng'oyogera nti senga akalulu banaakabba kiki kye mugenda okukola. Era Ssebo ansa yo giwaddamu nagiwulira, naye katusabe kubanze nali ntegeeza nti alonda afuga eggwanga n'amagye byonna bye bimu kiki ekinaabaawo naye buli omu ekyabaddewo yakitegedde. Kye mbadde nsaba nkiwuliddeko nga Honorable Kyagulanyi akyogerako olwaleero ng'agamba nti ajja kuyita ba members abayisemu ba MPs babaye nga bafuna ekyokwogerako. Naye mbadde nsaba kireme kuba kya mulundi gumu, wabula buli kaseera babayigirize kuba they are new in politics. abamu bazze bagenda kubawa ssente empitirivu obungi babeere nga babalamu emyaka 5 bamanye nti nze bampa miliyoni zange 600 mbamaze naye babayigirize nti bazimba linnya bazze kukiikirira abantu era bajja kulondebwa ebbanga lyonna we banaba balungi nga gwe mukadde waffe basaalirwa bw'oli. Sirina nnyo bingi kujjako okubaagaliza emirembe n'ekisanja kino kye mugenda okutandika. Barakallahu fiikum jazakumullahu khaira.
Barakallahu fikum Sheikh Njuki ojidde ku mulamwa ssebo ekibuuzo ekyo mbadde nga nti ogenda kuddamu ekimubuuze honorable wasaalirwa naye given nti yakikuddamu kwolwo olabika obadde nga ali omumativu. Waliwo abuuziza wano asking Musa L says how can you help Muslims in the diaspora to cast their votes at their local embassies? I think that's the question. Actually, simanyo Haji Kanisa twabaddeko ne chance yo neyo kumanya what's happened to Aisha Kabanda. I couldn't call because I was live here. I don't know if anybody is trying to get in touch with them, but we are opening up now the conversation. I would like to hear from you. And the usual way, the usual style on W Radio is just speaking up at random, and we just get to hear what you have to say. Abbas Njuki has just had his say. Let's hear from Aliyah. Aliyah is on. Becca Chinji's hand has been up. Let's go start with Mwesije Joram and then I'll come to Becca Chinji. Mwesije, sebo tuwakushemerwa. Welcome to 75W Radio and then Zona Nzgambwa.
Yes, I'm very happy. I think you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear now. The only kushemerwa ndukuja attend Zona Nzgambwa. Go ahead, please, in English.
Uganda, mwade mwogera kuba MP abanji in Parliament. That was my concern. And he also talks about as the steam democracy. As the concern is zange bidi. So can you know briefly because of the time ngenda kwongera ku democracy. Democracy if yari idea bagireta baroboza nti is one of the fundamental political solution. Na democracy wogera no digging deep has its own elements. Actually, there are two wolves actually deciding the dinner of the part of a sheep. I mean, a nigger market is deciding which dinner should they eat. So, democracy has its own element. Actually, we must provide a solution for democracy. Because if you see today, because of democracy, contesting parties, opposition cannot sit with NRM. The NRM party will sit first, decide who should get a job in NRM for looking at what? At opposition. That is democracy. So if I'm to try to explain the flaws of democracy today, I may have 1 hour for you. Then about the number of MPs who are more than 500. This is a bigger question. I work with a libertarian think tank. That's why I call myself a libertarian. We read much about economics. That is what we call the broken window theory. It was written by Henry Hazlitt. These economic administrative units or number of MPs in parliament is not equal to the number. It does not transform into economics for this country. It does not add much to the economy of this country. Again, number of MP not translating how much they put to the electorate, to their constituents. But adding that into actually the consumers of the whatever of the wealth of this country, they don't have direct contribution to the economy.
I'll put this to you. We've ended up with 515.
Yes, please.
The government argument has always been about service delivery, that probably services are getting nearer. For example, in my place where I used to travel 20 miles to get to the nearest hospital, now because the district has been brought nearer, I'll travel only 5 miles instead of the 20 miles. Isn't that something better for people, ordinary people?
That is not true. That is not economics. Those are wrong socialist economics. It does not add up. If
I just gave you a layman's point of view. I used to travel 20 miles.
Yes, let me explain you briefly.
Yes.
Let me explain to you briefly. If you have a piece of land and your father and all of you are earning 200,000 every month. If you divide a piece of land, you divide 1 acre of piece of land. Does that lead to increase in your value? Or if they divide your district to bring another district, if the district previously was earning, for example, 5 million or 24 billion, say, how much will it increase if they divide that district? For example, they bring more politicians who do not add value to the economy. They add very little value because they don't. How do MP create wealth? It is a farmer, it is a trader, it is a miner, it is that person who go and sweat in the end and produce money to pay tax, who add value to the nation, not those politicians. Politicians only tax people and get more money from them. But when they create a district administrative unit, they create what we call income outflows. They don't create value for what.
Your line is.
It's like this. It's like this, sir. The government only need to create efficient. Yes, please.
I'm sorry. We are having a conversation, and in having a conversation, we have to be able to listen to one another. If I talk and then we talk, then we don't get to listen to one another. I
was not getting you well.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
I'll put it to you again. I used to travel 20 miles. Think about a pregnant woman who is about to deliver a child. 20 miles to get to the delivery hospital where the chances are the baby might die on the way. Because of a new district that I've been given, I'm able to travel 5 miles. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes. If Mr. Asman, if Honorable Asman Basarirwa is in the whole of Jinja, and okay, if the whole of Soga had 10 MPs, I think those people are able to legislate efficient and effective solution for the Soga sub-region.
Yeah, but Joram, you're dodging my question. You're dodging my question, Joram, and I'll leave you simply because I can see so many other hands coming, and since you've had an opportunity, I'll thank you very, very much. Please stay around. Let's continue having a conversation. Yes, please.
Kassim.
Yes, oh, yes, Honorable.
I think we all agree that we have a very big parliament.
Yes.
Compared to our population. And I think we all agree that our parliament has a very big impact on the cost of public administration in the country. There's no doubt about that. My only concern with my brother is Joram,
yes,
is that we are shying away from the problem. How did we get there? The multiplicity of districts, the multiplicity of constituencies is an NRM creation. Now people don't want to face it. It is Mr. Museveni who continues to create these constituencies, these districts, and for selfish reasons. And we don't want to mention that. We don't want to mention that. So I think we should agree that we got to that point because Mr. Museveni benefits from multiplicity of districts and constituencies. So as a country, can we really stand up and say no to these, creations of almost every county wants to be a district? And for example, how do you explain the fact that Wakiso has only, the number of constituencies in Wakiso is far much lower than constituencies in most parts of the country. And yet Wakiso has a very big population. Even geographically, it is very big. So constituencies and districts are being created politically and conveniently, and we don't want to talk about it. Number two is this entire issue of service delivery. Kassim, I really don't agree with you. Because you see,
mine was a devil's advocate there, Honorable. Mine was a devil's advocate just to get a fame.
And let me give a devil's answer.
Please go ahead.
Let me give a devil's answer. For you to bring services closer to the people, you don't have to create districts and units. If, for example, you are saying that the people of Bujiri, where I come from, have insufficient health infrastructure, what you do is to actually take the infrastructure to areas where they are not. The solution cannot be in creating an administrative unit in that area. The solution lies in creating the infrastructure.
Actually, Asman, when you create new administrative areas, and then you are creating new posts. You are increasing. You are not doing development expenditure. You are increasing what is it called? Expenditure, just spending without getting the results.
Okay.
Therefore, that's why the weakness has been.
Mm-hmm. Well, the conversation continues here.
And it is deliberate.
Go ahead.
And maybe it is also diversionary, Kassim.
Yes, sir.
It is also diversionary. When the government fails to create jobs for its citizens, it is looking at these administrative structures as one of the job creation, processes and mechanisms.
Yes.
You create a district, you'll have a cow, you'll have another DC, you'll have a woman MP, you'll have an MP, you'll have a DISO, and all these.
Honorable Asari, someone here in the chat room puts it very clearly. It says, I think it says, but the entire game is done in Parliament. Honorable, what strategies do you have to stop divisionism?
The entire game is done in the Parliament using NRM numbers. So I don't want us to run away from that. We are always saying no.
Right. Okay.
We are always saying no.
We need the population to wake up and see things from a different perspective. Let me tell you, for example, affirmative action. We want women in parliament. If, for example, we decided that Uganda has 10 regions, and we say for each region, 3 women MPs, that means there would be 30. So the remaining positions of 116, what is paid to the maternity wards and whatever, it would make a lot of impact and sense than thinking that paying an individual person, it helps. So the recurrent expenditure surpasses the development expenditure several times, and consequently, there is no impact that is created. This is what I see. And it is me, it is you, not just because your neighbor, your cousin, your uncles, whatever, has become an MP or the cow, but what product is he going to give to the community as in general? Then it will improve.
Let me write it out the conversation, because Imam Kassos, we are still here with Honorable Wasalidwa and you. Haj Karim Kalisa has been very, very quiet there. I want to widen out the discussion because I need to bring in people. Like I said, let language not be a barrier. You get up womanyi. We can hear that. Begachid, your hand was up, sir. Just keep it short and sweet so that we can get people now having the conversation. Even the chat room now is getting busier once again. Begachid, come in and I'll be reading through the.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks for joining.
Do you mind if I use French?
I beg your pardon?
Do you mind if I use French? Do you mind if I use French?
Oh yeah.
France.
Pas de problème, je vais traduire. No problem at all, je vais traduire. I'll do the translation. Go ahead.
Nous parlons français.
Il n'y a pas de problème. Je comprends français aussi. Il n'y a pas de problème. Continuez avec français, il n'y a pas de problème.
I'll stick to English. Don't worry, I'll stick to English. In the chat room, there was a comment regarding picture for Muslim women. I think there was a question. I think you missed it, Sheikh Kayira. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
Regarding what the honorables are going to do about it. But my point is, I think for me, I have 2 points. Number one is the number of MPs is not the issue. The issue is what are they going to deliver? You know, you might have 5 MPs, but they're willing to deliver. You might have 100 or 500 or 600 when they're not really going to do anything. Most of them are there for BT, they're there for money. You know, they're just there to show that I'm an MP. But then when they're not going to do anything. So when we're analyzing it, let's not look at the numbers. Let's analyze each and every person that's there. And my second point is emotions. One thing I've analyzed most of Africans' politics, because the issues we have in Uganda, they happen in other African countries. The issue we have is emotions, because we're too emotionally attached to the situation that's at hand that everyone knows, which is like the elephant in the room, but everyone's so emotionally attached to it that sometimes we use our emotions and we don't use our brains when we're analyzing. So what we need to do is, one of the problem we have is unity. These 500 or whatever MPs, whatever number is there, those that have gone into parliament, are they willing to sit on one table and discuss an issue and come up with a solution where all of them have the same interest in there, where they're all willing to kind of like come up with something positive? Because one of the problems we have as Africans is this unity. We're not united, you know, because someone is from NRM, the other one is from DP, the other one is from NUP. They're not willing to sit on the same table to discuss an issue at hand. The first problem they'll be discussing is, you're from that side, I don't want to know. You're from that side, I don't want to know. So already we have divisions. Even ask the lay people, once you analyze something and criticize, for example, NUP, you're referred to as someone that supports NRM. Once you analyze, let's take emotions out of this thing and use our brains. That's me as a person.
Baker, I get your point. I've seen Salim in the US. I'm definitely sure our guests will be able to discuss on that. I'm still very hopeful in the next 1 hour that we will get 2 of our expected guests on the show who haven't showed up. I'm still very hopeful because I've been trying to send messages that I can see the messages have gotten. So that's a bit of hope. Salim in the US, as we are spreading out the conversation, then I can see Sharifa's hand is, Sharifa K again is back, I think with something burning. Salim in the US, you know the usual way that we do it on this program. If you come on, you should be ready to have a word, to have a say. What's your take on the happenings on the goings on?
Oh, first of all, yeah, thank you so much, Sheikh Kayira. Mine is just an observation of many Muslims who have joined the Asmani Basalirwa, and I would like to put this on Asmani Basalirwa. Hello, are we still?
Yes, we can hear you.
Someone has just interrupted me. I called my phone number. Okay, let me go ahead. Asmani Basalirwa, you have a big job right now because most of the people do trust you, according to your performance so far you have done within these 2 years. So right now, me as a Muslim, and as you have said, you have got a good cooperation with the rest of the MPs in the parliament. I would like to request you mainly to sit down with the Muslim caucus to train them, most of them being first
timers
elected for the first time in the parliament of the Republic of Uganda, so that they can maybe come up with something broad to benefit the country or to benefit the community in our country. Otherwise, some of them, as some people have already mentioned, are there for their beneficial, as self-benefits. They are there for the ceremonials, something like that. So that is my observation, but we do appreciate each and everything. All right.
Thank you very much, Salim. Thank you very much. I'll come back to, I'll come to Sharifa. Your hand was, there's Abu Musa who hasn't spoken, and then I'll come to Sharifa. With your permission, please. Yes, Abu Musa, and then I'll come to Sharifa.
Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
W Radio with Come Talk. Let's talk with me, Kassim Kayira. Your point.
Nebaza abategesi okubanga mwatu inviting abagenyi baffe. Okusookera ddala nja kwebaza Mungu okutusobozesa okubanga tufuna abakiise ennamba eyo ennene. Naye ensonga eno ngenda gitunuza mu audience. Members of parliament between right now nga neera nsaba mukulu Asumani Basalirwa engeri ye gyaluddemuuko n'engeri gy'alina ku experience mu ngeri gye bahandolinga ebintu mu parliament. Mbadde nsaba kintu kimu. Right now tulina okukuŋŋaana nga ffe abajeebweru kuba abantu bano bayise mu process yonna gye bayiseemu okutuuka we bali. Tulina challenge oba tulina okusetinga amazima nti batuuse gye bali ndowooza with minimal support okuva mu ffe nga audience oba nga ffe abali ebweru. Naye kyensaba mukulu wa Asumaani biidhinillah, twagala tukuŋŋaanye database y'abaana abantu tubakunge tubasembeze tutambule nabo kuba namba 50 is a good number to start with. Tulabe nti embeera is the starting point ey'okutambula n'abasiraamu abatukiikiridde. Tuleme kusaba right now bingi. Tekirowooza tusooke tubakuŋŋaanye database tube nga tugirina. Nga ssaawa yonna ekintu kye twetaaze tubayita ne tubakunga. Tetusaba nnyo, tetuteekako demand z'amaanyi ziri awo. Ne mobilization first weebaawo ne tubakunga ne tutambula nabo. So that come the next 5 years. Wallahi nti ennamba otugyongera nga tutambula n'abantu baffe. Ganaataano ebeerenga starting point. Tulina challenge right now. Tuba obuyambe bwaffe buyinza okuba bubadde butono right now. Naye bwe tutambula okudda mu maaso tutambule nabo batukolere ku bintu byaffe nga tutambudde nabo in the entire process. So right now kyensaba mukulu basaalirwa ng'omukulembeze oba alina experience right now. Tukungira abantu abo database tube nayo.
Abu Musa, barakallahu fikum sebo. I'm only moving because I want to get more people. Emikono ndaba abantu batandise okugenda nti akantu kabayingidde katandika okugenda akabayingira akabugumo emikono n'ekinyegenyege ndaba gigenze gijja. Barakallahu fikum sebo Abu Musa. Mwami Joseph Muwonge sebo nsanyisa okulaba ku mukutu guno nja kuwa akadde ojjobeko kyoyogera ku nsonga eno gye tuliko ey'omulamwa gwa leero. Nsooke ngende eri mukyala Sharifa Kembadde mpulese eyo nnyo then nzije wa Gaddafi Mayanja. Keep it sweet and short, please, so that we can have in more people. Haji Karim Kalisa na wasirikidde mu kasonda simanyi oba oli kacaayi oba oli bulungi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Monsieur Bassal, je suis très content maintenant. Vous parlez français, c'est très très bien pour mon pays. C'est très très magnifique.
Merci.
Merci, Kubanga. Member of Parliament. Nino kweraga nesimye ng'omukyalo omusiramu kubanga.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm proud to hear that our members of Parliament are not only representing us as per religion, but are also going out of their way to learn the languages and represent us very well. Mine is now a suggestion. We are having 50 members of Parliament as Muslims. Mbadde nteesa. Nga kenkopye no mu ggwanga ly'empangaliramu erya Switzerland, we have a bio-caramel parliament whereby these people are from different states, the same way we are as Ugandans, but are having it different. Twegatta ku ekintu kye tuba tukkiririzaamu. Ng'abasiraamu tulina amateeka ge twagala okukyusa mu ggwanga lyaffe naddala okuva ku baami baffe be batwala obutwazi. I should be a number 3 or number 4 somewhere or number 2 nga ndi mugole naye I think my mwami is somewhere in Komera. They are taking these men and these men are the production system or like the stems of our country. Ne baleka abakyala nga bayuga without protection. Mbadde nteesa mwami basaalirwa. Nga bwe twetegeka abakyala abasiraamu okuva mu diaspora tujje tukomewo ewaka. Because I'm a surgeon, you've got a lot of brilliant brains out here working for these people here, yet we can do a lot more back home for our people. Okitegeera. So mbadde nteesa kiteeso mu kitunulemu. We are having 50 members of parliament going to represent us as Muslims. We have points that we, regardless of religion, regardless of culture, we are looking at health. We are looking at security. We are looking at educating our children. Kubanga, when you divide the family, you divide the nation. Today, today to the roots, yeah. We put our families together again as Muslims. We have 50 coming in. Let us protect the family as the smallest unit in our country. Tukule mu birala.
Barakallahu fikum. I'm only stopping and moving very quickly. Until this program come, let's talk with me, Kassim, Kayira. We had agreed, we have a deal that from 9:30, we have a slot of about 10 minutes where we have a thank you slot. But because of what we're having, I'll push it to 9:40 so that then we can have just the 10 minutes where we have that thank you slot. It's a permanent slot. You just come into the show and you talk about someone that you'd like to thank. Someone special, they might be alive, they might be dead. Yes, Gaddafi Mayanja, please keep it short and sweet and so that we can have in more people, please. Mwami Joseph,
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kati ze songe yage mwana asonywa ngidewoleti na yinga discussion enyuma nyo very good. Twabazanya MP waffe Asumani basayira okubanga tujoyinize kakati wa MP zaffe bagenda mu parliament badde omuntu omukulu. Ye obulina buli bumu divisionism etulimu ffe ng'abasiraamu tulina okusooka okukolera ku kintu ekyo kubanga buli agenda agapromotinga bibye abasinga bazze nga bazze kusanyusa mbuto zaabwe era tujja kulaba nti ekibatutteyo bayinza okukivaako era muganda waffe MP Asumani okusaba baganda waffe abo bakwateko obalaga omulamwa kiki ekikolebwa ne ssebo Imam Kasozi oyina very big impact mu community yaffe y'obusiraamu tukusaba muyinza okukola this meetings abasajja ng'abo abazze ba MPs kati nga bakuliraga muganda waffe Haji Asumani nemba nga mbayita all the time negamba mufunawo slots nembayita nembajjukiza ekibatutte mu parliament si kugenda kugeza mbuto zaabwe naye basooke balabe nti nno bakola ekibatutteyo obusiraamu bwaffe babulwanirire kubanga tuli bubi nnyo nebitule babikole ki babikulaakulanye ja kuwanvunya nnyo kantu kange.
Honorable Basajja nja kuleetaleetamu intermittently tusobole okuba discussing those issues. Imam Kasozi Sebo, I'm sure oli mukwasibwa notes eva tobolwamu okukwata notes zo. Sharifa Twa, I'll come to you. Leka maro gende wa Mwami Joseph Muwonge mbaina mutegese dda mugenyi waffe kuno watenga naye akola programs ezibeera quite often, you know, quite interesting and I like. But Mwami Joseph Muwonge Sebo woli but you unmute yourself, please. Mami Joseph, can you hear me? You said, I think it was the big J. Ustad Zaide, in the meantime, let's just get Sharifa while we are getting Mami Joseph Muwonge. I'd alerted him to so as to be on standby. Sharifa Twaha. Sharifa Twaha, you can unmute yourself, please. Keep it short.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Nebazanya batesba programmer ne 75W radio. Nina yabuza butono nnyo eri Mr. Asumani basalirwa. Babuza byennyina. Why is there still child labor in Uganda? Government ekikozeeko ki ekintu ekyo? Baana bangi babonabona bakola mbu bwa house girl basomba amabulooka ne baba abusinga ne baba raping oluusi ne baba ukya amazzi agookya tusiba tubeera wano ku mawulire. Ekibuzo ekyokubiri, why is our ladies still having birth bazaalira ku mbalaza nga tebalina ne byakozesa? Olina jjo okumukolako alina emergency naye nga alina kusooka n'awaayo emitwalo 5 n'agisimba omusawo ne basooka ne bakola ki ne bamukwatako. Abantu abo tubayambye tutya? Ensonga eyokusatu, why is there like a lot of sexual violence going on in Uganda and outside? Why is our brothers and sisters violated? What is the government done about it? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Honorable Basai, I'll just take Joseph Muwonge and then I'll come to you to Fune. And Haji Karim Kalisa, this is a conversation. It is a global community conversation. It's not just us talking to ourselves. Joseph, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you very much, my brother, Mr. Kayira Kassim. It's been a very, very interesting program. I've listened to you for the last 1 hour and have to say I'm really impressed with what I'm listening to, and thank you everyone who is contributing.
Thank you.
Personally, I'm an economist and an accountant. So as I normally say, if you're a carpenter, you're looking at everything, you look at it in terms of the hammer and the nail. So,
in a wood perspective. In a wood perspective.
Yes. I'm looking at the new incoming cabinet, and it's very, very big. And I'm already looking at it in financial expenditure. So we are already looking at. Today I was reading on social media from someone called Frank. I'm not going to mention the second name, but they are already looking at dispensing 300 millions to every single one of them in terms of vehicle facilitation. I don't know if Mr. Basalirwa can confirm that.
But that was there in the past, so I don't think it will be very new.
Then again, these are guys who.
It is 200, not 300.
It's 200. Yeah, that's what I thought. With inflation, probably it has moved to 300.
yeah, but still, that's
even if it is 200, it is still very high.
Still very high. Joseph, go on, finish your point, and then we'll open
but you should first put the record straight.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's 200 million, which is not little. Again, from an economist's point of view.
Yeah, Mr. Basalirwa, I will withdraw the initial assumption and make a confirmation it's 200, which is still quite significant.
Yeah.
Given the return. Basically, when we do an investment, we're looking at these MPs as an investment in the community, and we are looking forward to seeing what we call the return on your investment. We are investing in these MPs, and what kind of return are we expecting? Looking at the past parliament, which was also huge, and looking at the return, if it was an investment, to me, it would have been a very, very poor return on that investment. So my worry is this is going to be even a much bigger parliament, and what kind of return on this investment are we expecting? On the Muslim community, I'm really, really very, very impressed, because our community, that Muslim community, has always been underrepresented. This time round, I think, Mr. Basalirwa, with the numbers that you have, you probably, as some members have said, you'll be able to sort of galvanize and come up with a unified kind of voice to talk about the few things which have been really hurting that side of the community. But back on my economic side, I'm really, really worried how, as a country which is dependent on borrowings, how we are going to sustain this big parliament. That's my major worry, Mr. Basalirwa. I don't want to go into
Joseph Muwoge, for your very, very beautiful contribution. I'm sure the Honorable Basalirwa will have a lot, as well as our guests. Everybody is a guest on this show, and therefore you have your right to have a word. There is a name, I can't just read it very well. I think my site is beginning to Kunje Emera, but it's some, I don't know whether he's in the United Arab Emirates. I can't see it from a distance. I think age is beginning to catch up. After all, you can see the open roof is quite clear. I'm sure you can see that.
It is called Sumini. Yeah, I think the name is like Sumini Salim. Sumini Salim.
Alaikum salam wa
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, nebaza Allah asobosezza okubeera nammwe leero era nsaba abeere ng'atumalira ffenna. My point is, tulaba nti gavumenti erina ba multi-stakeholder like mu nsi ez'enjawulo beekozesa ku sayidi y'aba diasporas, but ndaba nga tebatuyambye. For example, waliwo Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Gender, Labour, Culture and Social Development, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development and others. Naye for sure, most of the time tutuuka ekiseera nga twetaaga obuyambi bwabwe naye ne batatuyamba wallahi thumma wallahi tetwetaaga bingi abaana abali ku kyeyo tebeetaaga bingi wallahi tunyigirizibwa
from the sound of it olabika oli munsi z'abawarabu zetwetwogerako wano zetwawadde honorable a point of reference. Is that so?
Wallahi tunyigirizibwa tetwetaaga bingi twagala just ddembe lyaffe.
Be yourself, otherwise whenever emotional view tegenda kuvaayo.
Imam Kasozi naye tumanyi kireka ne kivaayo n'akitulugusa kubanga bw'atandikidde okuba nti akiyiwa onaakinyiganyiga kasita oli musawo wa myoyo. Sumini kibalule kiveeyo
ekyo ekituufu nti akyogere nga bw'anaabeera emotional kijja kumulema akeepinge her status then akyogere.
Sumini genda mu maaso kyalina kazinga.
Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil. Wallahi tuyita mu kunyigirizibwa kungi ofuna obuzibu oluusi n'ogenda ku internal affairs ne batakuyamba n'ogenda ku embassy ne batakuyamba ate oyo ofunirayo n'ebizibu ebisinga gy'obadde. Nenga gavumenti
badde nsaba obere specific bw'ogaa nti tufuna obuzibu nga buzibu ki kubanga omuwuliriza ali kuno yali yagadde ategeere exactly buzibu ki kubanga maybe n'agenda okuyamba afuna bw'atandikira ng'alina.
Okay, kambawe example kunze kennyini nkoze waneno almost emyaka 2 n'ekitundu naye like nina kisaawe natuuka nenfuna something it was like hernia on my lower chest. It's been almost 2 years cause nakifuna mu Ramadan eri eyaggwa okujjako ey'omwaka oguwedde. So nengambako mukama wange teyafaayo okitegeera ne mugamba at least ngende mudwero bakebere ekituufu kiteyafaayo ekiseera ne kigenda omwaka ne guggwako ogwaddako ne ngamba kanneefeeko ne ntandika okufollowinga up nga ndi driver naye nga tasobola kuwa mmotoka gamba nti ogende naye nga bo bayinza obeera ne appointments mu ddwaliro ez'enjawulo. Kati kye nakola ne ngambako mujja wa madamu wange era ye yannyamba. Once I talked to her she came up yani nafaayo nanyamba okusinga ne mukama wange gwe nkola. Right now I had operation last Tuesday. So abasawo like namala operation ne basooka ne bampa week number ne baŋŋamba tujja kukolako follow up after 1 week. So nga siina kola mulimu gwonna. Nenkomawo ewaka wallahi nagenda mu ddwaliro zaali ku makya ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya mukama wange namuleka asomesa online namukwira just by. Nengenda mu ddwaliro ne bannongoosa naye yafuba olaba nga mu ddwaliro nkomawo kwolwo kuba abasawo baali baŋŋambye siina kukomawo naye naakubanga amasimu mubagambe babasiibule mukomeewo nenkomawo just to keep peace. We nakomawo nembere waka okuva we nava mu ddwaliro tajjangako yadde wanene okulumwa agambe nti annambulako naye nga tubeera waka wamu kitegeera ankubira simu tosobola kuvuga olwo bakuggyeemu mwana biki oba okitegeera it's hurting. Today I had to go back to the hospital for another follow-up. Ne mugamba sobola vuga driver yantwala ku luli amugaanye kuba ngambye omuvubuka antwale nangamba madamu ayina kunkubira nangamba lete emmotoka ovuga mpola mpola ne mugamba I can't because the doctor said don't do anything until we tell you do so because you're using a lot of pressure ate egenda kukosa munda mubeere open so it won't be easy for you.
Okay. Kassim wali yagadde nga ba MPs baffe okubayambako because at least problem tujulidde part of the problem.
Okay, nze ngaze nyinza okuba nga nsobola ovaayo nenjogera naye kyemmanyi n'abalala bayita mu bulumi bwe bumu okitegeera so mbadde nsaba at least abo bannaffe abagenzeeyo balwanirire abaana banene abali ebweru wallahi tusasula ssente tuwa omusolo buli kimu naye oyinza okusanga nga percentage y'abaana esinga tebagifaako. Mbasaba busabi nga nammwe we mwagala embeera ennungi gye muli naffe mutulowoozeeko cause okola ssente n'osindika Uganda nga tolina keweekoleddeko lwakuba nti nno okulaakulanya nsi yonna abantu b'okubeera bulungi.
Barakallahu fikum webale nnyo ndabye omukono gwa Ashrafu honorable Basalirwa Imam Kasozi Haji Karim Kalisa points that there are very serious issues. Actually, someone has suggested mu chat room nagamba twetaaga tukole a program on diaspora, specifically to get to problems as a diaspora. Kubanga tuyitima tuli mu nsi at least ezina amateeka na bweki tujja kusanga embeera zaffe tujja kuzicomparinga with the Middle East, but you'll find that there are particular problems that are also peculiar to us. And without a doubt, from this particular election, you have seen the role of the diaspora and what it can actually do. I think that really has to go on your to-do list, Honorable Basaliwa, to have a way of looking at this particular problem and probably trying to address some of these issues. One program to be able to address all these issues. Yes, sir.
Kassim.
Yes, sir.
I think it's important that we put certain issues into perspective.
Yes.
The situation back home here is not good. Unemployment is so high. Our young people are very desperate. So most of them are actually conned. And you don't blame them. Really, this is a political problem. It's a governance problem. Because people are desperate, they find themselves in various parts of the world. Some illegally, some legally. I have confronted situations of this nature. One, our sister Sumin explains a scenario, which really is very unfortunate. Now, I always ask them before, because the urge to go abroad, because of the unemployment here, sometimes blinds them and they don't take initiative to even read the contracts. Because some of the issues she raises are contractual in nature. What does your contract say in case you fall sick? Because if it's a contractual issue, as a professional lawyer, the first point would be to address the provisions of your contract before we talk about anything else. Now, because our people are desperate, they're actually exploited. And sometimes, if, for example, you are signing a contract that gives the employer opportunity to exploit some of those loopholes, it becomes extremely difficult sometimes to seek protection. So I think what we should be doing, especially with the labor export organizations at the level of parliament, is to ensure that the contracts that our organizations sign with our citizens are perhaps scrutinized by some agencies within government to avoid the exploitation. I have been some of the Arab countries. I'll tell you, for example, I was in Oman. The majority of our citizens in Oman are there illegally. They were actually trafficked out of the country. Now, even when they have problems, government will shy away simply because they went there illegally. But you then ask government, why are our people out of the country illegally? It is because we have failed to plan for them. So the issue of exploitation, the issue of, and I already talked about our embassies. By the way, our government never takes our embassies as a priority. That's why consular and diplomatic support is very limited. So, most of these embassies are limping. I'm telling you, they are financially limping. We have colleagues, we have relatives who are working in these embassies. Even when you visit them, just read our budget and see how much money is allocated to our embassies.
But are we realistic to imagine that a person who is desperate, because you started your point saying there's a lot of desperation, people are desperate to grab the next job available. If a person is so desperate to start questioning what is even in the contract when they are told, no. You know that.
Yes, but you see, if we don't do that, Kassim, if we don't do that, we will not solve the problem. I think let's begin with the basics, and then
I think actually the biggest challenge it is these brothers and sisters of ours. They themselves don't sign any contract. Somebody signed the contract on their behalf, and he whisks them that even sometimes when they are taken, they are dumped in some group and they wait there. Sometimes actually it is like a market for those who want workers. And the way somebody goes into working is the way is most likely to be treated. I think the biggest challenge is look at even because these are workers. We even have worker MPs, but worker MPs go on political tickets, and therefore they don't even focus on the workers themselves. The last thing I think is the humanity in general. Some people where they still look at these workers the way they actually acquire them. They look at them as slaves. And I think to me, that's where there is the big challenge. Basar has said it, people are desperate. Also, some of our people, when you explain to them when they are still here and you have some job you can be doing, they think out there, you see, out there is everything. You know, for example, in the Middle East, the biggest problem was we had a group of people who went to Iraq, for example, first, because largely many workers who went on that went to Iraq first. But because of the nature in Iraq, and because in Iraq, they were being employed by, I think, the Americans who were there at that time and they wanted to leave. And these people went as security people. Somehow they raised a lot of money. And our people were blindfolded. Unless, as I have told you, you trace any company that takes people out, it is owned largely by security people. And therefore, the impunity
that's a
locally
very
here
important note,
is a problem.
I think, to take note of, especially considering the biggest of the companies that are in there. I just have too many hands that I want us to wrap up. We're going to have that.
Kassim,
Yes, sir.
Kassim.
Honorable Basariwa, please. Yeah.
There were issues that were raised earlier. I may lose track of them.
Oh, do you think so? Okay, I was worried because I wanted to get the hands over, and then we come and we just have the wrap up in answer.
I'm going to lose track
no
of
problem.
them.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Let me mention three things. One, on the size of parliament. I think our parliament is too big. I don't want us to debate that. Because it is too big, it has impacted on public administration and public costs. Now, as a country, we need to agree how many MPs should we have? How many districts should we have? How many constituencies should we have? We should have a public discussion on that aspect. It is not a matter you are going to leave to MPs alone. It's not a matter you are going to leave to Mr. Museveni alone, because Mr. Museveni has an interest in a bloated parliament. Number two, because the parliament is very big, whatever is paid to MPs has a very huge financial implication. Ideally, MPs should be paid well, but the paying MPs well can only make sense if the number is reasonable. But if the number is huge, the way it is, even if MPs are paid 10 million shillings per month and all their entitlements end in 10 million, it will still be very big. So let us have a national discussion on the size of parliament, how many districts we need to have, and actually put a moratorium on the number of districts and constituencies. Now, most of the comments that are being mentioned here are governance issues, they are political issues. And I think we make a very big mistake if we shy away from addressing the critical governance and political issues. As far as I'm concerned, this is a country that needs redemption. If we don't address the redemption aspect of it, my sister was talking about people giving birth on verandas, but those are governance issues. How much money are we allocating to the health sector? How much money is government allocating to the health sector? And we have signed protocols that commit us to certain percentages. We are not fulfilling those protocols. We are not holding our MPs to account for some of these issues. Now, the few of us who are speaking out, we are also overwhelmed. And sometimes we take the blame. A matter comes in parliament, we rise up and say no. Because we are few, the majority take the day. But we take the blame as MPs, because I am not going to shy away from a decision taken by an institution where I belong. So my view is that the governance and the political question must be resolved. And let me make a very difficult statement. It may not be very good to some of the people. If Mr. Museveni does not cease being president of Uganda, most of the problems and lamentations people are making on the forum will continue, because I am among the people who believe that Mr. Museveni is the problem of this country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Salirwa. We've got 3 hands. I'll just try to get them quickly. Oh my God, the time flies and we are almost out of here. Ashraf, your hand was up first. Let's go to Ashraf. Please keep it short so that we can have an engagement, we can have a conversation. Ashraf, then Winyoro Kitara, and then Haji Kawoye. Ashraf, please.
Thank you, Sheikh Kayira. As a Mwalimu,
yes,
I'm wondering how Honorable Asumani and the rest of the Muslim MPs would advise us on the kind of help they need from us to serve better.
Brilliant. Okay, that will take in. Barakallahu fikum. Oh, you are a very, very serious Mualim. Straight to the point, sweet and short. That will put to the Honorable Member of Parliament. In fact, Imam Kassos, on this particular point, I think I might end up getting carried away and then we end the show and we haven't discussed this particular thing. We had a particular sort of brainstorming with Imam Kassos, Honorable Basari, in your absence. And we're talking about coming up with a Muslim think tank, which would supersede all these divisions of Chibuli, Nakasero, Old Kampala, have a center of sort of policy, a think tank that can develop policy once developed and thought through, then brought to you as members of parliament to try and push through. I think that might be something as a food for thought. I'll need to get your own view on that particular one. But I was thinking that we need to have a strong point where we can speak with one voice on matters that affect our communities. If there are particular matters, then, especially the Muslim community, because we are a minority, there are particular problems that we share with everybody else, things like poverty, things like insecurity, but then there are particular issues that come to us, narrowed down to us. Is there, for example, a way of empowering our imams, which is a project that has been on, to be recognized, on an official, say, councillors platform? But I think that's a discussion for another day. We need to have a sort of a think tank that can develop policy that we might be able to forward to our
I think before you bring in another person, I think the responsibility is for me and you, and also to the members of parliament. Of course, a good number of them will respond to our call, and to inform them that let us stop when we become members of parliament. Let us not be petty, okay? Then the disparity within the Muslim community, irrespective of where you come from or irrespective of which leadership you subscribe to, should not be the issue. The issue is the bigger picture, whereby the concerns of this community and its members, and also the other people you are representing in parliament, how are they handled? You see, otherwise, if people go there to sing a song, this evening I was on a radio program with General Tumwine. He was just singing songs, okay, thinking that that we are moving forward. And you ask him, okay, you have said we have 6,000 industries. They call them industries. I asked him, if we had 6,000 industries, would we have the problem of unemployment that we have? We wouldn't. Meaning, therefore, those are not industries. Therefore, the whole idea is the community itself, and then to know, as a country, for example, my brother Mwonge said, for him, he's an economist. Look, for example, if we have, I think we are going to have 535 MPs in the next parliament. So if each of them is given 200 million for a car, we need 107 billion. You see, 107 billion. But after that, the health center that is in the neighborhood will not have even Panadol. Okay, so where is the problem? As Basarwa put it rightly, the issue is governance. The issue is political, but the biggest challenge are the people themselves, because we have not rediscovered ourselves. We think that these matters don't concern us, and that's why sometimes MPs and government leaders own us. They call us our people. How did you go talk to my people without my knowledge? Then you charge him. When did they become a people? So as a community, if we have a proposal and we are pushing it to ensure that we make a retreat for the Muslim MPs. As I said before, if we succeed in this one, irrespective of how many people are going to come, we may need, as somebody put it earlier, we may need your intervention so that we organize something for them. And like the Quran says, فَذَكِّرْ, you see, just to remind, inna dhikra tanfa'ul mu'minun. People may now appreciate their role if they are reminded. Thank you
very much, Imam Kasozi. I'm just going to take Bunyoro Kitara and then we'll come to Haji Kawuya. But while Bunyoro Kitara gets ready, unmuting themselves, on Facebook, some people are staying up late in the night, actually, and I thank you for those who have. Ibrahim Sali says, keep it up, Sheikh Kassim. It's a very brilliant program. Nambali Wamuna, all the way in Germany, says, making friends and being social is crucial so you can create impact. Zaina Heinza Liwanda says, this is a very timely show. Well done. And Tadeo Kakunguru, all the way in Johannesburg, is saying, I'm following the program, and what a brilliant show. It can actually show. Bunyoro Kitara, unmute yourself, please, and go ahead. Your point.
Yes, Mr. Kayira, thank you very much for this opportunity and this program. Assalamu alaikum, everyone on the chat.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
My submission is about our sisters that are in the Middle East. To me, it's very close to my heart. I have two sisters who are in the Middle East, and the amount they are paying them a month, one of them is 60 pounds a month, another one is 80 pounds a month. I spoke to them and said, look here, why didn't you ask us? Why didn't you speak to us or me or the family? We can raise even more than 80 pounds. But I believe the Mr. Basaru mentioned on it, that is poverty. It's poverty that sends them out there. And then we look at the government. The government is not really interested. I think it goes back to us, the community, and even working with these young girls that are going into slavery, is to create, so like the one who was there previously, is to say, look here, I've seen it, I'm here, I'm not progressing 2 years, and I could have died here. So if they form something small, and we, the community, we say, look here, we are forming this organization or this to help these young people, and let them know before even they get on that plane. We help them while they are still there, or even those ones who are there already, to get them back. And we say, look here, there's something here, we can help you as a community. But other than waiting for the MPs and saying, oh, okay, you shouldn't have signed that contract, but try to educate them that, look here, you can do better. There's something better for you. But we as a community identify it as a problem that is there, and we galvanize ourselves and try to help them collectively. Like in the diaspora, we say in the UK, we form a group, and that group is going to help them. That is my submission.
Thank you very much. Barakallahu fikum, and thanks for keeping it short. Haji Kawuya, we are just really trying to wrap up now. We'll need to get our guests to sort of respond. There are people who have been very quiet, including Sheikh Ustad Zaid. You are so quiet today. I hope you're enjoying the program. Bunyoro Kitara Dan, Haji Kawuya, please keep it short. Your points, please, regarding today's topic. Minorities coming up.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
salam. Ensonga yange ziringa ssatu ngenda kuyita mu short kubanga abala baatutte obudde. Ekisooka, obuzibu bwe tulina mu politics we Uganda, tulina Mr. Byekwaso ayitiridde. Tulina okujja Mr. Byekwaso. Abasiraamu tulina obunafu. Obunafu bwaffe buvudde mu kwegabanyaamu. Bw'otunuulira Catholic institution, bayina abantu be balobing ewa president n'abanyonyeza ebifo. Ffe tetulina database abasiraamu. Twekutulamu. Bw'oleeta mwami Basalirwa omutwale wa Mr. President, ng'owe okodi Kampala agenda aga Mr. President oyo omusajja muzibu nnyo akolagana ne gundi. tulina okugyawo division ezo tukole database yaffe tugende mulumbe president mu mugambi bana baana abasomye ono asomye kyonna kino twagala bifo tujja kufuna ne bambasada abasobola okukola abantu bali be balonda tebabalonda ku busiraamu president abalonda nga mikwano gye so accountability wa president tulina okukola eyo database gye mwagala okukola yonna nungi tulina okubeera ne lobbying group abaprotestant batandise dde okulobinga sekandi yagudde church catholic church ekola kulaba ani go bazzaawo mu sekandi basigaze linki eyo ne Buganda Mengo kubanga sekandi abadde azanye ebintu bibiri Mengo ne Mbakatuliki owulira naffe tulina okugyawo buno obusosoze ekibuli tabuliki ani bwe tutafeemu buntu obwo tugenda kusigala nga tuli mabega nga tukaaba tebatuwadde bifo ekyokubiri mwami Basaalirwa yagenda n'agamba agenza Oman ebizibu byalabayo yakomawo mu parliament n'abitebolinga ku floor bwe bamumanyi kampuni ezitwala abaana abo ne zibakozesa ebintu lwaki temuvaayo ne mwogera ku floor ensi netinga ne baba muli batono ensi etegeere oli ajja kootinga nti Honorable Basaalirwa yayogera ku kintu ekyo owulira naye muyiteeyo ne mwetola ne mudda muga embassy ziri bwirwa nsonga abantu balondawo nabo si bakozi babalonda bulonzi n'owulira nti oli abadde ayogera nnyo ekampani ne bamuwa deputy ambassador naye nga si mukozi si public service nga bwe twafiirwa mwami Sekono be basajja bali bategeera diplomacy ekyokusatu mu ababaka ba parliament abali omwe sente ze babawa ennyingi ezo njagala mbuuzeeyo mubaka wa parliament kimu opposition yavuddeyo n'agamba ngenda kutebolinga guuni ne sente zino bazisaleko tuziwa abasawo abajjanjaba covid oba bazitwale ku health center bona bagamba nti parliament eri bloated naye sente bazikwata ne bagenda ne bagula bunuwa ne buprimo ne bakomawo eno ku radio ku CBS ne bagamba omusajja Museveni atulemeseza omusajja Museveni yassa ebintu lwaki esente temuzoogera ku floor tesente mutuwa nnyingi muzisaleko leero waki bagane naye ng'okyogedde naye nedda mami Kayira byekwasa aveewo twekube mu reflection naffe tulina assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Ndio Abdul Karim, is it Abdul Karim Mugenzi? Isma Abdul Karim Mugenzi omukono guli waggulu. Then today to wrapping banaye mbasaba munsonyi mwe kuba nti no tulwangadde nnyo tuyise mukadde naye olaba nti we suddenly got the discussion really heated. And some of these are some of the topics ezigenda okuvaamu actually zijjo tuyamba to have future discussions. Like now, tonight, so far, the number programs, Satu, Imam Kasozi Sebo, Basaalirwa with some of the issues that have come up. Tuna issue of diaspora, this is really, really critical. I think we need to have a special program specifically looking at diaspora. Another thing that has come up, the issue of I think this needs to be addressed directly. While again, I'm exporting companies, which does not apply to those in the diaspora in the UK or the United States. And then the issue, and some of these issues that are coming up. The issue think tank, I think, has been agreed upon, and we will definitely have to push and see how we can have a concerted voice that can speak. And it doesn't just have to address Muslim issues. It might even be about interreligious relations, but starting from within the think tank. Because once you have a particular position, it is quite amazing how when you go to Catholics and Protestants and you're having a discussion around a matter of national interest, but from your own perspective, that actually can inform the kind of decision and debates that take place in the country. Abdul Karim again. So, and then to Ibn Zakaria. We want to wrap up, please. And today our guest Mafe, Honorable Basaalirwa points the name Imam Kasozi, Haji Karim Karisa Simanyo Wacha so do Kuangara. But we should be wrapping up. And I thank everybody who has taken the time to be with us tonight. Now, Abdul Karim.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kassim. Just 1 point, 2 points. One is to congratulate the Muslim honorables who have been elected. And to my analysis is people are a bit emotional and maybe we don't know how the parliament runs. It's a game of numbers. So no matter how much you pin Honorable Basaalirwa, they're not talking, they're not doing this. They're just 50 people. Out of 500. What do you expect them to do?
And they are not yet 50, by the way. They have not been 50. It's just now that they are going to become 50.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So I think you're giving them too much pressure. I just feel sorry for them because there are only few people, and you expect them to make decisions, no matter how much Mr. Basalirwa or can be loud on the floor of Parliament. He's not going to change the status quo. Yeah, things are just of numbers. If you don't have the numbers, you can't talk. It's as simple as that.
Barakallah. Thank you very much. I think that there was another hand that just disappeared. So I just need to get to hear from two ladies, and then I go to our guests. Two ladies, please. We've not had any female voices. Just look at random and let's just get on our chara. Mariam, Texas. Ajati mu Kenya ensonga ze yazirambuludde dda wano hafusabireko ye mulabye abadde ali mu chat room nga gye abadde ayogerera bwogedde ku governance and corruption. I think she had a view on that, which has come through. Let's see, do we have Farida Shakira? Oh, how is that? Okay, Farida Shakira, please unmute yourself. Ensonga ze twogeddeko olwaleero, what's your takeaway? Wenayo bubaka eri Honorable Basalirwa ne banne abasiraamu abarondeddwa. Okay, let's move. She's not ready. Jada's Galaxy A70. Oh,
Kassim.
Yes, sir.
Kassim.
Yes, Honorable.
I think it's getting late. I am blacking out.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's. Looks like emikono giweddeyo mbadde njagala kuwa bakyala kakisa naye kati ndoza tulapinge up. You take away from this Honorable Basalirwa.
Yes. Mbadde njagala kusookera ku Haji Kawooya. Haji Kawooya ayinza okuba nga taatugoberera bulungi bye tukola mu Parliament. Ensonga z'ayogeddeko zonna mu Parliament twazanjula. Bwe nagenda Oman nali sigenze ku mirimu gya Parliament, nali ngenze ku bintu byange, naye era ng'obuvunaanyizibwa nga sisobola kuvaayo nga sifunyeeko maloboozi ga njawulo. Kuba Oman eyo eriyo abantu b'e Bugiri bangi nnyo, Abawarabu nga baava Bugiri. So ensonga z'ayogerako byonna n'agamba nti
Abawarabu baava Basalirwa.
Abawarabu munnange baava e Bugiri eyo.
Baava Oman ne bajja Bugiri. Tebavanga Bugiri ne bagenda Oman.
Baava e Zanzibar. Baava e Zanzibar. Ne bajja e Bugiri ne basenga e Bugiri. Bwe baava e Bugiri ne bagenda Oman. Kati gye bali bangi mwana wattu nabasanga yunga boogera n'olusooka gurupu eyo gimanyi. Kakati n'olwekyo Haji Kawooya byabadde ayogerako byonna tubyogedde mu Parliament. Teri kye tutakoze. Naye twayogedde ku kufuga ebbi eriri wano lye tuyita impunity. Ndowooza ekyo tayagadde kikoonako simanyi lwaki. Ekyokubiri, omusaala gwa BMP. Omusaala gwa BMP gavumenti yeegutegeka si BMP. Waliwo ekitongole bakiyita Parliamentary Commission. Kituula ne Minister wa Finance, ne Prime Minister, ne Speaker. Ne bateekateeka budget bw'eba efulumye. Ate Minister wa Finance substantively ye President. Tovulanga oluusi neewunya President bw'agamba mu BMP bafune sente nnyingi. Yazibawa. Ekitegeera. Kakati bwe bazikuwa ozigaana oba nedda. Nze ndowooza kibeera populism ogamba nti ozigaane. BMPs bakola ebintu bya njawulo. Imaamu yakimanyi. Gavumenti weetali MP wabeera. Kyova olaba buli MP ayina ambulance. Mu constituencies zaffe buli MP ayina ambulance. Naye nga si mulimu gwe MP okubeera na ambulance. Buli MP olomosi ayina coaster. Lwaki? No providing a transport. BMPs be bagula eddagala mu malwaliro agamu, be bagula ebitanda. Olw'okuba the system is broken. The social services system is completely broken. So the shock absorbers are really the members of Parliament. Tovolaba wano mu COVID, government we yali yeetaaga ambulances. Yawandiika mu butongole ne saba ababaka ba Parliament baweeyo ambulances zaabwe. Naye ani agamba nti omulimu gw'MP kugula ambulance. So tuli mu system erimu obuzibu. So njagadde Haji Kawooya abeeremu enkanya. Kuba alabika abadde tatufollowinga bulungi mu nsonga ezigenda mu maaso. Kassim, waliwo ensonga eyogeddwawo nti kaakati abantu tuli basanyufu nti BMPs beeyongedde obungi abasiraamu. Naye njagala Muslim community. The Muslim community should be able to own these MPs. But that owning these MPs is a process that should begin now. Because you don't know how these people have gotten to parliament. You don't know what they have gone through. The different efforts that are really personal, not community efforts, but personal efforts. So I think Imam waliwo gundi omuwalimu yagambye twandikoze eki nze ndowooza nti we wabeerawo support ey'enjawulo gye musobola okuwa MPs bano nti oba mulina programs oba dha Ramadhani oba dhuhiya oba kuyamba bamulekwa oba kuyamba bakadde programu yonna nga zisobola okutuukira ku MPs bano ne bagenda ne bazitwala mu constituencies zaabwe ne banyweza obusiraamu naye nabo ne beenyweza nakyo kirina engeri gye kisobola okuyambako okuddamu ekibuuzo kiri bwe tunaaba kati nze ng'omuntu Imam Kasozi aninako stake. Why? Kuba nali ndi awo simanyi kye yakola naye nali ndi awo nga baase ennene zeebu giri mu constituency yange kati sovu Imam Kasozi and group kati asobola okuntuuza n'agamba basalirwa wano oli mukyamu. Why? Kuba ayina contribution gye yanteekako okufuuka kyendi. So nandyagadde community eno nayo etandika okuwuninga abasiraamu nga babeerako contributions ez'enjawulo ze bakola mu constituencies zaabwe mu community ku lw'obulungi bwa community ne ku lw'obulungi bw'abantu bano ab'enjawulo. Finally, I shared the idea with Imam Kasozi about 4-5 days ago when I had a meeting with him. The idea that elders like Imam Kasozi and others should invite us as the Muslim MPs for a discussion is an idea they should take up. I'm just waiting for a call. I am available. I'm always available. And we have a lot to learn from our elders like Imam Kasozi and the others. And I think when they call us, wasn't MP Muslim, Imam Kasozi Gwaita Natajja, because he has done many programs across the country. I don't know of any place in this country where Imam Kasozi and his team have not done community work. So Imam, you have a responsibility, as I discussed with you. Please invite us, call us as early as possible, because from what I am hearing, some are beginning to make mistakes even before swearing. And I think the earlier we do it, the better. Imam, you have a duty. Please discharge that responsibility.
Thank you very, very much. I apologize, sincerely apologize. I'm a very time conscious person, as you know me. This program has dragged on simply because you got interesting, and this is where we are having our conversation. You have a minute to wrap up. Barakallahu fikum. So much your presence has actually added a lot of value to this particular program. JFK mkono mgraba muandike neye bansa byo kwanti nsibura abantu tubakalidde nyepanga. Kasozi, 1 minute, please. You wrap up.
Thank you very much, Kassim, for this, and I thank everybody. And I would like to thank Muwonge, Joram, and others, because it is through such interactions that we begin to understand the deeper meanings of communities and societies. And when we want to work with them, we know where to begin. What I want to say, I want to assure my brothers and sisters on this forum that our program is underway. Many of our MPs are positive. Others, they themselves initiated it, and they are saying, please do this for us. So let us prepare it, organize it, and then we can really meet and make a deeper discussion over this. And maybe also we are trying to make attempts to reach out to the community leaders, the community leaders in terms of their offices, the amiris, the mufti, the supreme mufti, and others, and to show them that let us not continue working the way we have been working. Let us understand we have a disparity in terms of power positions, but we have a responsibility to help. The last thing I want to say, it is to request you in the diaspora also to have influence over the individual MPs of the reason why you think we must work as a team, irrespective of our formations. Lastly, this influx you are seeing, the growing you are seeing, it was a deliberate work that started in around 1995. And we began to focus on saying, why do we have issues here and there? Then we realized that our role in politics was not coming up. So we started it. And I know very many people come to our place, stay some time, they run, especially those whose interest is really getting positions. Our purpose for us is not getting positions. It is create that lobby team that can do the work for the community, irrespective of where they are. I want to thank everybody for this, and I hope we shall continue having such engagements for the better of our community. Thank you very much.
For staying awake this long. I'll Zaid shortly to come and just say goodbye to all our guests who have been here. I cannot thank you enough for keeping it, Derby Radio and Umma Connected, both on YouTube and on Zoom. Just a quick message from Becca Chiinji on program tomorrow on W Radio 75, W Radio Bridging the Gap. Tomorrow we'll be covering the story Uncovering Sexual Abuse, and we'll be talking to 2 victims on tomorrow's show. So it's one to keep you awake. Next week, inshallah, on Tuesday, we have a program that you cannot afford to miss. If you're on today, make sure you're back next week. Many of the programs here are social programs, and it is your conversation. It is you that we listen to, and we have a conversation with you. Thank you very much for tonight. I hope that, inshallah, you will keep it. W Radio 75. Ustad Zaid, please, if you can just say our closing remarks to our guests who have been here. Very brilliant comments and commentaries, both in the chat room and on Facebook. And thank you very much for staying up this long. Ustad Zaid, you have the mic.
Okay, I loved listening. And especially listening to my old friend, Honorable Asman Basalirwa. Thank you so much. But I think, KK, we've made one mistake. As you see in the chat, people are asking executive questions, executive decisions. They are making them legislative questions, judicial questions. I think the responsibilities, of a member of parliament first before doing anything. So next time, Mr. Honorable your responsibility to what should we expect from you, because people are giving you Museveni's jobs, the justice's jobs, and yet you have too much on your hands. So please, ndali wana abantu abamu nga bagamba mbu esente zibakusasula ziteeke mu bintu by'obusiraamu tokyekirira abasiraamu bokka. And your constituency remove maybe 60% Muslims and 40% maybe you understand. So please, next time remember that he's only an MP. He's not a judge. He's not a judge. He's not a member of the executive members. He doesn't make executive.
Do you notice the fact that maybe you might have missed it? The fact that Uganda, because of systems not working, a lot of things have got intertwined and got mixed up. So even appointments roles that would have been parliamentary roles end up in the executive. As a result, even for the public, it is very confusing. I think that actually says a lot about systems that now need rehabilitation. But go ahead, please.
KK, that we really need it. But MP, I think because he's the lawyer, and he's a senior member in the parliament, I think what we should expect from them. Other than and expectations are yet keeping within their range. Otherwise, thank you all. for tuning in. Faizo from Derby, everyone. Haji Karim Kalisa is still on. SubhanAllah, it's 1 o'clock in Uganda. I want him to make the closing remarks. I want to call him to make the closing remarks, not me, man.
Quite often, if anything goes wrong, you are the person that we keep looking at. Ismail Sebo, we were in your barakallahu fikum. Haji Karim Kalisa Sebo, so you are, but then if you are there, you could just say, Haji Karim Kalisa. I tried to call and he wasn't.
Maybe he does though.
Yes.
Yes.
Twala omukisa to thank abali mu UAE because they are 4 hours ahead of us.
Absolutely.
It's 2 o'clock. Yeah, for Sumin and Salma and everyone in the UAE. Thanks so much for tuning in, for staying with us. Imam Kassos, of course, always. People appreciate or remember Parliament for everyone in Uganda, for all Ugandans. Being an MP in Uganda is under you. So as we know that, we can only expect you, bigger things for you, Imam Kassos. And
but I'm telling you, when you're 26 minutes above the program, I never do that. You know me. But honorable members, MP elects the town whatever want to go about the way, so either connectivity problems or whatever, especially honorable Aisha Kabanda ne Mr. Update. Right, so that might actually Imam Kasozi ina yema wangeita mutakatomanye jaisi barakallahu nanyi okupe ebibuuzo now
gwe Kayira siri wa bulijjo gwe teri musomesa wo kimanyi
so I'll just leave it. You will get to hear about this program, but I promise you there is no way you can miss that program. Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Bi'idhnillah. Thank you very much. I love you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can Isma play us something as our guests sign out?
Yeah, I'm sure you can hear the background there.
Isma?
That's the sick tune for Come, Let's Talk. So.
Yeah, Isma, can you play us something, please?
You can't hear it.
No, we can't, because I know the tune. I can hear it, but it's not coming. It's not coming through.
All right.